These are 6 MMOs and RPGs that I am super excited to play this year. Some of them are coming out just next week and others later in the year, but these are 6 games I'm super excited to get my hands on, to try them, give you my impressions, my thoughts, my reactions. And so in no particular order, other than just ranking them for numerical purposes, starting off with the Blue Protocol. Blue Protocol is an upcoming MMORPG game that is a traditional style MMO game. The game was released in Japan last year, and it was supposed to be released last year globally as well, but Amazon did push it out into 2024, and initially the game did have some troubles. It got some bad feedback from the players about the balancing, about how the game felt a little bit underwhelming. However, the developers did say they're gonna address all these issues, and knowing Amazon, it probably will be addressed because it is in their interests, it's a big company. And so for the global release, I do expect this game to be in a much better state than it is right now. It is an anime style game, but it's nothing like Genshin or any other of those games you tried. It's not really a gacha type of game. It is a lot more a traditional style MMO game with MMO game type of combat, type of progression, and all the other good stuff that comes with it, and the bad as well. That being said, it looks super awesome. I think it's gonna be good. I think Amazon gonna fix all of the issues before the release because, like I said, it's clearly in their best interest to do so. It should be releasing somewhere mid-summer this year. I mean, it's hard to say, but it should be somewhere in the second half of the year. Now let's move to the next one, Zenless Zone Zero. This is another game from the Genshin developers. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic futuristic metropolis known as New Eridu. Most of humanity has been wiped out by supernatural disasters called the Hollows, which appear out of thin air, and that creates a disordered dimensions where monsters known as ethereals roam. Just like the Genshin, it is a similar type of game. It has your basic attacks, your elementals, your signature moves known as ultimates. Honestly, it's nothing really that a Genshin player would not be familiar with. That being said, Zenless Zone Zero is not an open world game, but rather an instance game. It's a little bit more similar to Honkai Impact. In Zenless Zone Zero, you are sent out into the missions that transfer you to different locations where you can use your characters that you have. And of course, this game being from Genshin developers, it will have that familiar Hoyoverse quality to it that we all grew to love. And to nobody's surprise, of course, it's gonna be a gacha game. That being said, I really wait for it. It looks like a lot of fun. Its style is maybe a little bit closer to Honkai Star Rail than to Genshin Impact, but honestly, it's kind of its own thing really. But it is one more game from Hoyoverse that I cannot wait to add to my list of Hoyoverse games. I've completed most of the Genshin right now, not all of it, there's still a lot of things to do, there's still a bunch of missions and things to explore, but I absolutely loved my time in it, and I'm sure that Zenless Zone Zero will do exactly the same. Just like Genshin, just like Honkai, and at some point I will say, just like Zenless Zone Zero. As for the release of the Zenless Zone Zero, there isn't a specific date yet, but it's probably gonna be in the fall of 2024, and it's definitely gonna be this year, so be ready for it. Now for the next game, that will be Wuthering Waves, and the thing is about this game, it doesn't release sometime later this year, it releases next Wednesday, that is May 22nd, 2024. So you will not have to wait long for this game if you are excited for it just like I am. We're gonna be playing it next Wednesday. Wuthering Waves is an upcoming free-to-play RPG game developed and published by Kuro Games, and it is an open world game. Visually, the game kinda looks a little bit more like Honkai Star Rail, but honestly that's where similarities end. Wuthering Waves will be a lot more similar to Genshin and Tower of Fantasy in a sense that it is a big open world game. It will resonate a little bit more towards Genshin, as it is not an MMO, but rather an RPG with some co-op features, at least that's the way I understand. But it will not be an MMO in a traditional sense where you play with a lot of players, that will not be the case. The game already has well over 30 million pre-registrations. 30 million! Let that number sink in. That's 30 million people waiting to play this game. and it's coming out next Wednesday, which is an absolutely wild number. Honestly, if you look at the gameplay, the game looks absolutely fantastic and phenomenal. Who knows, maybe it's gonna be a serious competitor to Genshin, as it says to have a better gacha system, it says to have a better combat system, it says to be a little bit more flexible, but we'll see, right? It's just around the corner, so I'm super excited for it, and I hope that you are as well. The next game I'm super excited for is Dune Awakening. Dune Awakening will be an open world game. It's a survival MMO really. It's a lot closer to Conan Exiles games, if you're familiar with those. And it's also made by the same developer, so do expect some similarities in those games. Of course, like every survival game, it will include gathering, it will include survival, exploring, hunting, and all the good stuff we love about survival games. And the game looks absolutely lovely and fantastic. Honestly, the Conan games look phenomenal, and if this looks anything like it, hopefully better than that, it's gonna be phenomenal as well, at least in the way it looks. As far as the way the game will feel, I mean, we'll see. It's supposed to be releasing this year. There isn't a specific date, so probably late into the year, but we'll see. Hopefully the game will be awesome because it looks absolutely phenomenal. The next game I am excited for is Throne and Liberty. Now, the game is already released in Korea and it had a very rocky launch to the game, and it is scheduled to release this year globally in the West. It's published by Amazon Studios, I mean, as many MMOs these days are. And although it had a lot of problems in its initial release and the closed beta tests, the game developers did address a lot of the issues the game had. They did fix a lot of stuff. They promised that for the global release it's gonna be a lot better, no rocky launches. It had stuff like autoplay, which they completely removed. There is no autoplay anymore. It's gonna be a lot more MMO-like rather than autoplayer. It should technically be like a modern version of Lineage 2 if you guys played it. From what I understand, the game is pay to win, but you know, pay to win is not always the same in every game. There are games like, you know, people say, oh, Genshin is pay to win, but honestly, you can play the whole game without paying a single cent, so it can be pay to win, but also it can be not pay to win. So pay to win doesn't equal to pay to win in every game, so we'll see how it goes. It is likely to be released in the first half of this year, but since the first half of this year is already coming towards the end, it probably gonna be pushed out towards the second half of the year, but it looks amazing. It's a proper big MMO that we haven't had in a long while, and I'm super excited to try it. I don't know if it's gonna be good, bad, but hey, I'll be here, you'll be here, we're gonna make videos, talk about it, enjoy it, or don't, if it's bad, and talk about it. And now let's move to the final game. And although I said none of these games are in any order, this one is the only one in this list that has an order, and that order number is number 1. Out of all of the games this year, this game I'm waiting the most, and that is Path of Exile 2. Now, Path of Exile, an absolutely amazing game. It's in a league of its own. Diablo has nothing on it, let's be honest. Diablo is alright game, but it's not no PoE, let's be real. And Path of Exile 2 is set out to take all of the good stuff from PoE, move it to the Path of Exile 2, and then add things like improved graphics, improved combat, improved movement system, improved characters, new areas, new bosses, a lot of new stuff to explore. The combat will go a significant revamp. You will be able to move with WSD. There's gonna be plenty of new classes and new bosses. Honestly, there's so much new stuff in there, and the game will be a little bit slower as well. Maybe like it's gonna be maybe like a little bit towards the Diablo style, you know, not as fast-paced as original PoE. I think a lot of people like the fast-paced original PoE, including me. However, it can be a little bit much at times, and sometimes you feel like you're just running around without any thought and just killing all the monsters. In PoE 2, you will be able to do things like roll, get out of the way. It's gonna be a little bit slower, you're gonna be in a little bit more danger. It's gonna feel a little bit more proper, like a proper combat and a proper fight, and the graphics and everything's gonna feel a little bit more darker, and honestly, it just looks fantastic. Like, I don't know what else to say. Out of all of these games, this one I'm waiting the most, and I have a feeling it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. If it's Anything even close to original PoE is gonna be a blast. I made plenty of videos on this channel about PoE. I will make plenty of videos about PoE 2. So if you wanna see me play PoE 2, be sure to subscribe. Honestly, if you wanna see me play any of these games, be sure to subscribe and like the video. As far as the release date, we don't have an exact release date, but the developers of GGG did say it will be releasing this year, so it's definitely gonna be this year. Other than that, yeah, these are the 6 games that I'm waiting this year the most, at least from like RPG MMO side. Are you excited for either of these games? What other games are you waiting for? Maybe give me some recommendations. Maybe I'm missing something that's gonna be coming out this year that is absolutely amazing and I just somehow didn't notice it. So be sure to leave a comment, let me know what are you waiting this year. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click on that subscribe and like button. But other than that, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time. Take care.